So in 2025, the Infiniti QX80 underwent a full redesign, making it the third generation of the QX80 model lineup. Right behind me, I have the brand new 2025 Infiniti QX80 Autograph Edition, which is the highest trim. Now, on the new model lineup for 2025, the QX80 comes in 4 different trims. I'll go over those trims with you, but as always, guys, I want to give you guys a quick overview of the exterior, the interior, of course the engine, the cargo area, and then finally the driving impressions. So guys, as always, let's strap in and take a look. So the Infiniti QX80 now 2025 model year does come in 4 different trim levels. The first one is the Pure, which starts at $82,450. Next one up is the Luxe, which starts at $89,550. Right above that is the Sensory, which is $100,645 starting price. And then of course this one that we have right here in front of us, the Autograph Edition, as you guys can see, that starts at $110,595. Now, one thing that I do want to mention to you guys is that only the Autograph and the Sensory trim levels do come standard with 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. The other two, which are the Luxe and the Pure, don't have all-wheel drive as standard. You'd have to option that out. So getting started right at the beginning here with the exterior overall design of the Infiniti QX80 for 2025 model year. You guys get to see that the QX80 now has a fully redesigned front grille area, which has all these lines here in the front, and let's not forget that the Infiniti logo at night actually lights up. It's got a little bit more presence, especially now with these daytime running lights. These are not the headlights, these are now the daytime running lights, and now you can find the headlights here right at the bottom. We get to see some functional air curtains here around the sides, and then some openings right at the bottom for additional cooling, powering the brand new, for the QX80, twin turbo V6. This QX80 now doesn't actually have a V8 like it used to in its previous generations. We get to see some very nice multi-spoke wheels. These are not 22-inch in size. 22-inch rims now is not something uncommon that we see on the larger SUVs in the market. This still remains a body on frame structure, and we see sort of like a redesigned version of that, if you want to call it, front side vent on the fender. Now the door handles are flush, so when you unlock the doors, they pop out. We do have a running board that goes with the QX80, and then, like I mentioned at the beginning of my video, this is the Autograph trim level, which is the highest trim level in the lineup. Something else that's pretty cool, you get to see a nice little Infiniti badge right on the corner of the taillight. You get to see the Infiniti scripture in huge letters in the rear. We also see a completely redesigned full-length taillight design that is not like a light bar, but more sort of like a multi-lit up LED light signature in the rear. We don't see any sort of exhaust housings. The exhaust actually fall right at the bottom. If you guys can see, it remains hidden to keep sort of that nice clean look. We do have a smaller spoiler in the top with the third brake light. And then something else that I did notice, as you guys can see, there is a double fin on the top, which I don't know why that is. Maybe you guys can comment below. This Infiniti QX80 has undergone a massive redesign. I do like it way more than what it used to be. Now, do I like it more than its competition? For example, like the Lexus LX or the Cadillac Escalade? I mean, those other two brands have a little bit better brand recognition than the Infiniti, but overall, I think that Infiniti did a great job in terms of redesigning and keeping its name more relevant amongst the luxury segment. I believe that, at least with this design, Infiniti can potentially do good things. And we'll find out a little bit more as we go out towards the interior and the driving impressions as well. But overall, I do like the design, especially the front. It's very commanding, very imposing, and it's got quite a bit more presence than it used to. So before getting inside of the Infiniti QX80, I want to show you guys the key. That's your key. We get to see that you got the Infiniti logo on the back, but it doesn't feel anything special. I don't find it actually goes well with the redesign of the vehicle, because the vehicle itself seems very luxurious. This has a luxurious look, but definitely not a luxurious feel, because all around here is all plastic. This is plastic as well. And I'm not sure if this part around, the metallic part, is actually made in metal. It could be plastic as well. But just to go over some of the buttons, you got the lock, unlock. When you unlock it, you get to see that the door handles basically pop out. Then of course you got the trunk release. So right here, you get to see. Let's close it. Then you have your panic, and I believe the top button over here is the auto start. Let's give it a shot. I'm not sure how that works, so I'm gonna have to give it a try. Let's see. So there you go. So that comes standard with the vehicle as well, which is a very useful feature, especially if you live in winter climates. Let's turn it off. Let's unlock it, and let's get inside. So, as I said before, you do have these door handles that basically pop out. And right off the bat, you guys get to see the level of luxury that Infiniti integrated into the new QX80. We have some really nice perforated leather here. That's leather as well. You got a nice, really, I guess, I'm not even sure what this is, but it's a very nice inlay with a nice sort of design over here. Nothing too crazy, but I do like the sort of finishing on the door handle. Then you have your memory seats, you have your window controls, mirror controls, door lock, unlock, a nice little handle area to close the door, but you also have some space to put some smaller items. You guys do get to see that it does come with a Klipsch Reference Premier sound system with another speaker down there. And then of course, a little bit disappointing for such a large vehicle. You do have space probably for a 750 ml bottle, but this part right here is very, very small. I'm just a little confused as to why, you know, they have the speaker grill over here, another tweeter over there, but then like they kept this sort of like in a, I guess, dark color as well. Moving on to the door sill, we get to see Infiniti badging or scripture right here that's actually lit up. And then we have multi-way powered seats, which include everything from lumbar support, the tilt function, and forward and reverse. And then you have, it seems like you have massaging. Yeah, looks like it's massaging over here. And then that's for basically adjusting your bolsters. And then very, very nice finishing on the seats themselves as well. This is finished in a sort of like a dark red. I'll give you guys the actual name of the interior finish. And then you have the autograph scripture right here at the back of the seat. Additional buttons over here. That's for your auto hold, brake auto hold, and your handbrake or electronic brake. Some additional buttons over here for lane keep assist, auto start stop. I believe that's for your heads up display next, and then that's your trunk release button right at the end. The other feature that I want to show you guys, part of the speaker system is this Klipsch speaker system that basically goes right around your headrest, which is super cool. I don't think I've seen that in other vehicles. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have seen this in other vehicles, but nice little feature. And I believe that when the music is actually playing and you have GPS on with directions, the GPS directions do play just on these speakers, which basically play right into your ear, which is really, really nice thing to have. As soon as I close the doors, you got a nice little thump. Unfortunately, for a vehicle of this price and level of luxury, you do not have soft close doors, which is kind of disappointing. Let's take a look. Yeah, no soft close. A little bit disappointing to say the least. Wow, the feel of the steering wheel itself, like the material, really, really, really nice. I really like this. It feels like it's Napa leather, but it's super smooth. And I do like the little Infiniti scripture here at the bottom as well. Very nice inlays on the actual spokes themselves, and it seems like these areas do light up. Let's turn on the car. Yes, they do light up, so you do have multiple functions on each side. This seems like it's for your cruise control. That seems probably like a full on or full off safety system. And then you have additional sort of controls for your cruise control, volume buttons. It seems like the dial over here is placed in a diagonal fashion, probably because it allows you to control both horizontal controls and vertical controls. So instead of actually confusing the user, I think this works pretty well, to be honest. So one cool thing that I see over here, so if you guys see these two controls, when I click on this side, it allows me to control the infotainment screen over here. So it allows me to do multiple things just from the touch of the steering wheel. And then if I go back here and I go back on the left side, and now I can control with the same dial different features on the gauge cluster. Now, giving you guys an overall look, we do have, it seems like 3 screens on the interior. We have the infotainment screen, but it seems like one glass that's split in 2. So infotainment, gauge cluster right here, and then you have your AC controls. The other thing also that I noticed is that you have your volume knob over here and your track buttons as well. So you have a few physical dials and buttons, which are for the most important things, as well as your gear selector. So you have your gear selector is actually in buttons now. So you have your neutral and then your drive. So let's put it back in park. You have your air suspension control over here and then your camera. The camera itself seems like it's very, very, very clear. The other cool thing is that you have multiple angles, multiple views that you have. You can even do 3D as well. So you guys get to see over here. It's very responsive and very clear as well. Allows you to change the view in any way that you want, which is very, very functional and useful for such a large vehicle. Onto the gauge cluster, it seems that you have quite a bit of functionality over here. So you got things like settings, you can change your view as well. So that's pretty nice. You can actually have your Sirius XM, your media, alongside with some of your GPS coordinates as well. You have your gear selector, that's your RPMs, and then your fuel level. So you have quite a bit of functionality on the screen, which is very, very useful. Yeah, it's nice to have all these different settings that you can modulate in the vehicle, including driver assistance, and you have everything from intelligent cruise control, lane centering assist, lane change assist, lane assist, blind spot assist, emergency assist, traffic sign assist, parking assist, driver monitor, sound setting. And so yeah, as you guys could see, there's quite a few safety standard controls in the Autograph edition. One thing that I did notice right away is the fact that, given the fact that this is all gloss black, you guys get to see how quickly it gets smudged. So that's one downside, so you better be prepared to clean that up on a regular basis. Getting onto the infotainment screen, it seems like it's quite responsive, and you have multiple things over here. So you have Amazon Alexa, you have a dash cam. So that's really nice to have. I'm not sure why other companies don't have dash cams integrated into their vehicles, especially when they already have so many cameras in them. You can even change to dash cam inside the camera. So you guys get to see me right here. Hello. So it seems like it's, yep, that camera. So there's a camera right here. You guys get to see that camera right there. So I guess that allows you to, if you're probably an Uber driver, or even if you have a family and you want to see what's going on, you get to see that in there. So that's really, really cool as well. You do have both Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and it does seem like it's wireless, so that's a refreshing thing to have. And then the other cool thing also is that these lines sort of continue in a lit up fashion, and you get to see that Infiniti scripture is actually lit up right there in the dash as well. Very nice choice of materials. You've got leather here, leather on the top dash as well. So quite a bit of nice materials. I mean, of course, given the fact that this car is quite expensive, we're talking about $112,000, $113,000 price on this vehicle. As we're in the middle console, you do have a wireless charger over here where you can just throw in your phone in there, and you don't have to worry about positioning because it just basically falls right in there. So very nice to have. You have a couple of USB-C plugs over there. You can even close this up as well. A couple of cup holders in here as well. So I think it would have been nice to have a few more cup holders given the size of this vehicle. And then the really cool thing is this over here is actually a cool box. So what that means is if you have anything that's cold and you want to keep it cool, you could put it in there and it'll keep it cool. It won't refrigerate it, but it'll keep it cool. And you guys can see right here, cool box. And then you just turn it on and you can hear that. So that's really, really nice to have. Let's not forget, we do have more additional storage right under the HVAC screen controls. So that's really nice to have additional storage there as well. The headliner is in a nice sort of microfiber suede, or like an Alcantara if you want to call it. We have a panoramic sunroof that goes all the way to the back. So let's take a look at the rear of the 2025 Infiniti QX80 Autograph Edition. You guys get to see that the luxury appointments still continue all the way to the rear. Very nice soft leather with this really nice inlay once again. And then of course, you have these rear captain's chairs. And the cool thing is that you can also adjust them as if you're in the front. You can recline the seats, and moving forward or back is a nice feature to have. You guys get to see I have at least 2.5 inches, if not 3 inches between my knees and the front seat. Your HVAC controls all over here. You can even change the direction of the flow on the air. So that's really nice to have. You can put it down to your feet, down to your face, both up and down. Modulate the actual strength of the HVAC. It seems like you have both cooled and heated seats. We do have USB-C plugs alongside with a cigarette style lighter plug as well. This middle console, which is not movable, it stays in place with some cup holders. You have AC, the seat climate controls, and the adjustment of the seats. So if you want, you can even adjust the seats from here. I'm adjusting my own seat just to show you really quickly the seat massage. You can do left seat massage, or you can go to the right and then turn it on. And then you have your lumbar, relaxing and refreshing settings for the massage. Adjust the intensity and the speed. You have quite a bit of storage in this cubby hole right here in the center console. It's not a cooling box like the one in the front, but still quite deep. You guys can see how far my hand goes. So you can put some large items there as well. Aside from that, you do have a couple of USB-C ports in there as well. So very, very nice little feature to have with these massaging seats and the rear captain seating area. Very, very well done. So I'm back outside. I'm trying to get into the third row. So one thing that you get to see, there's a button right here. So you just basically press that and it automatically unlocks the seat and it brings it all the way forward. But it keeps the position of the seat as is. And then it actually wow. Look how much space you actually have to get into the third row. So now I'm gonna basically put this back down. So I'm sitting all the way back and let's see how this is. Wow, guys, look at this. I have a good 1.5 inches of space between my knee and the second row seat. So even a person who's 6'1" can sit pretty comfortably. And I'll show you guys even like in terms of head space, how that is. I don't have much space. I probably have like 1 centimeter or 0.5 centimeter of space. My hair is actually touching the ceiling, but still, I mean, I wouldn't say that it's uncomfortable per se, because a lot of third row seats in many SUVs, you'd feel very cramped. I don't feel as cramped over here. The only thing that I have to say is that I have this thing right behind me, which I believe is a headrest. I would have to bring it up, but I'm not gonna bring it up right now. Aside from that, you do have other controls, including a couple of cup holders here. Wow, heated seat as well on the third row seat, so both low and high. That's actually to adjust the tilt of your rear third row seat. So I can even adjust my seat up from here. It does both tilt and moving forward or back in one motion. So you don't have as much control in the third row, but you still have at least the ability to control your seats and your positioning of your seats. You guys also get to see that there are some vents for the third row passengers, and the luxury still remains with the choice of materials as well. So generally speaking, I have to say that the interior of the Infiniti QX80 for 2025 is quite impressive. So now let's take a look at the trunk space of the 2025 Infiniti QX80. Let me show you guys different ways I can open up the trunk. So one way is actually through the key itself. The other way is through this button over here. And then of course there's another way that's on the interior for the driver's side. There's a button on the left-hand side of the steering wheel, but let's open up the trunk. So typical for a 3-row SUV, of course, when the third row is up, we won't have as much space as you guys can see. You do have the ability to fold down all the seats, which is super cool. So if I were to, let's say on the left hand side, because you guys can see there's right hand side and left hand side, so I can do left hand side, and you guys will see that the third row seats will now fold down and give you more access to additional space. And now the second row will also go down, and you guys will see now that there is a substantial amount of space. If I were to put all this down, I'll show you guys on the screen how much cargo area or volume you have with the second row seats up, third row seats up, or with both second and third rows folded down. You can lower or raise the suspension to make the load height more accessible. So now we're under the hood in the engine bay for the 2025 Infiniti QX80, and we see a 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 making 450 horsepower and 516 pounds per foot of torque. All the different trims of the QX80 actually have the same engine, so it doesn't matter which trim you end up getting. The 0 to 60 times are about in the low fives. I think it's like 5.3 seconds, 0 to 60 for such a large vehicle, being powered by a twin turbo V6. You know, don't be fooled by the fact that this is a V6 now instead of the previous generation's V8. Probably has slightly better fuel efficiency and just as much power, if not even a little bit better, especially when it comes to the torque, because you do have a pair of turbos in this. I'll show you guys on the screen the EPA fuel economy if you guys are interested in that. All right guys, so driving the 2025 Infiniti QX80. This is the body on frame infrastructure. I can tell you that based on the short amount of time that I've been driving it, it does feel quite luxurious. It doesn't feel so, I guess you could say, off-roady, if anything, because I mean, at the end of the day, this is a luxury vehicle, and they did a pretty good job in terms of keeping it a luxury feel. The way that this feels, you know, the steering is very soft, very comfortable. The suspension is quite compliant. This is on air suspension, so you do have different suspension settings depending on what type of drive mode you have it in. Lane keep assist feature does actually vibrate your steering wheel, and you know, instead of actually, I do like it on the steering wheel as opposed to some other vehicles like on the seats. One thing that I noticed right away, which I don't like, is the fact that the turn signals have that feature where it goes back to the center. So I don't know why Infiniti decided to opt for that. The other thing also is that the brakes feel pretty good. They don't bite right off the bat as soon as you actually press on the brake pedal. You do have to push on the brake pedal a little bit more to get a little bit more brake feel. It does have automatic start-stop, so that's pretty good feature as well. Now let's push it a little bit to see how this 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 feels. So it's not super fast, but for such a heavy vehicle, you know, hovering around the 6,000 pound range, it does actually, you know, pick up pretty quickly. Like I did mention before, it does do 0 to 60 in the low 5, so that's pretty comforting to have that in such a large vehicle. The other thing also is that I don't notice from a luxury perspective that this does not have the blind spot camera when you put on the turn signals like other vehicles have, like the Genesis GV80 or the GV70, for example. It would have been nice to have that, especially on such a large vehicle like this one. Nevertheless, you do have quite a few other safety features that come standard with the Autograph vehicle as well. Yeah, this car definitely feels its weight, every bit of it, to be honest. But you're not getting this car to carve any canyons, to say the least. It's, like I said before, it's a family hauler. The transmission, it's a 9-speed transmission, so it's actually, it's pretty seamless. Not super responsive when it comes to changing gears. Yeah, even on the upshifts, on the upshifts is very, very slow. You probably have a good second and a half delay between pressing on the paddle and actually changing the gear. I wouldn't say that it's super quiet or secluded in here, so don't expect ultimate levels of luxury when it comes to serenity, for example. I'll tell you one thing though, given the fact that this vehicle is so large, sometimes it's a little bit hard to see, large cones on the road because the hood is so up high, so it kind of blocks the view of certain cones, especially those large cones. I mean, forget about the small ones. Even the large ones sometimes get their view sort of blocked by the large hood and the fact that you're so up high. The other thing also that I forgot to mention is the fact that you do have a heads-up display. It doesn't seem like you have much in terms of options or things that you get to see on the heads-up display. Right now, all I see is basically the speed limit and the speed that I'm going at. In terms of things that I get to see on the heads-up display: navigation, driver assist, speed limit sign, audio, telephone, SMS. So yeah, you can get, but since I have the media turned off and I'm not on the phone, it's not showing on my heads-up display right now. Like I said, it's quite surprising that the fact that this is a body on frame and it feels this comfortable and it doesn't feel like an off-roady vehicle is quite impressive. Let's not forget that this is driving on 22-inch wheels as well. So, they did a pretty good job with the air suspension in this QX80. Generally, the overall experience from a driving perspective on the 2025 Infiniti QX80 is quite positive. They did a great job in terms of full redesign. The exterior design, the interior design is really nice. And the driving impression itself, overall, I would definitely say that it's more positive than negative. I would probably give this a 7 on 10. If you guys are considering a large body on frame 3-row SUV, then I would tell you to definitely give this a try and consider it, at least give it a test drive and see how you feel compared to some of its competitors. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this review of the 2025 Infiniti QX80. I'm actually quite impressed with the new QX80, fully redesigned. Question is this enough to keep Infiniti relevant with the rest of the luxury manufacturers out there? In recent years, Infiniti has lost its way because they haven't really redesigned or came out with any new models. Now we see with this fully redesigned QX80, especially with the Autograph edition, it does actually bring up its game quite a bit. I was very impressed. Driving impressions were actually quite good. I hope that this actually does keep Infiniti sort of in some people's radars to consider this vehicle, because I would definitely say you guys should actually consider this if you're looking at something like the Lexus LX or even the Cadillac. It all really depends on whether or not you guys feel strongly towards the brand. Infiniti, unfortunately, doesn't have such a strong brand recognition as some of its competitors, but only time will tell. We'll see how this does in sales. It just recently came out. As always, I want to give a huge thanks to Orlando Infiniti for allowing me to review this Autograph edition. Make sure to check them out on their website and take a look at some of their inventory. And I want to give you guys a big thanks for all the views. Make sure to comment below. Guys, stay tuned for additional content. I want to wish you guys a happy new year and a great 2025 ahead. So I'll see you guys in 2025. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.